right, so this is Juice.
This is Juice. 2022 Ford full-size Bronco wild track with the Sasquatch package.
And you got this salvaged out of Albuquerque?
Yes, it came from the Copart insurance auction on the south side of Albuquerque.
Man. Now, what are your plans? You were pointing out this front end damage a minute ago. What all have you done so far?
Well, when I got it, all the suspension was pretty well wiped out on this side. It didn't have any frame damage, but suspension, most of the new vehicles are made with breakaway components to protect the overall structure of the vehicle and also absorb energy to protect the occupants. So all the suspension's basically been changed out. This upper rail up here, I've still got to change it out. It took a while to get it. A lot of the stuff has back order issues. I've been working my way through them, but I've got this piece. I'll be changing it out here pretty quick.
Have you got to drive it much?
Oh, absolutely. I'll take you for a ride in it. We can go right now.
Sweet. Now, what about your front end here? You were telling me the parts are pretty expensive on this.
Yeah, so a headlight's close to $2,000. The headlight bolts to these shutters. These shutters, I don't know. I mean, I know engineers say these are great. Basically what they do is they close off running down the road. And in theory, they get better fuel mileage. You've got an upper and you've got a lower. The lower one's like $1,800.
Wow.
This one's $600 or $700-ish.
That's crazy.
It's got an alloy upper radiator support. It's a bolt-in, consumable. You can see Rick's broke. I've got it in there. It'll be getting changed. Anyway.
Now, what are your long-term plans? You going to be able to make this into a daily driver, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope to be driving it. If everything shows up, I hope to be driving it within a month.
Now, the big question, Steve, is what about Bucky? Everybody's worried about Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky's safe.
All right.
Bucky's not going anywhere. The legend.
Everybody's been concerned about Bucky. Oh, he's going to sell Bucky to pay off those Broncos. No, I don't think so.
No. In fact, we have a Bronco gathering last weekend of March, I guess through April 1st in Heber Springs, Arkansas, Mid-South Bronco Roundup, and we'll be taking it over to there. I think Donald said there's 200-300 Broncos registered.
Wow.
But in the Bronco world, it has a pretty good following.
Yeah, she's famous. Now, I will say this: it will be nice to have some air conditioning over here in the new.
Yeah, there's times we have a lot of people ask about the whole air conditioning thing. This has got the 260 air, 2 vent windows, 60 mile an hour, and I have to say, old cars, they built them to handle heat. Society has really gotten soft. At the same time, new vehicles like this new Bronco or this new Bronco Sport, they don't have vent windows.
Yeah.
That Super Duty doesn't have vent windows. So if your air conditioner goes out in it, you get no air movement through it. It's miserable.
That's right. Now, I followed you guys up Route 66 last year, and you had the top off this, and it was pretty comfortable, I think.
Yeah. Now, we did Route 66. We peeled off with you at what was it, El Reno?
Elk City,
Elk
maybe.
City.
Yeah.
And then, we continued on. We went all the way to downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
To the famous sign with it. All we had on was the bikini top, and it was, March?
Yeah.
we spent some really, really cool days over in Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana. It was like in the 50s, rainy. I was having to wear 2 pullovers.
And you had to put a starter on her on the road, I remember.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty rare. It would still start most of the time, but it just, I don't know if the brushes were wore out in it or what, but it'd stop on center and you could crawl under there and tap around and it would take off. But, you know, for the amount of miles that we travel in it, you know, it's the original engine, it's the original transmission.
Wow.
It's reliable. It uses a little bit of oil. You know, it's pulling our teardrop, we get about 11-12 miles a gallon. And we usually cruise 60 to 65 in it. It goes anywhere we want.
Yeah.
We don't just road trip. You know, we get to some of these Bronco gatherings, we'll get out and we'll wheel. We don't get as crazy as some of the big boys with the rock crawlers and whatnot, but we've certainly had it out on stuff that would make your rectum pucker a little bit.
Oh man. Well, it's capable, no doubt. Now, with the new Bronco, when you get this all put together and you get we'll talk about the other one too in a moment. You're gonna, I mean, I'm not gonna talk money, but you really made a killing getting 2 new Broncos for low dollars, really, in the grand scheme.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
But we'll have her 21 Sport. You know, it had 14,000 miles on it when we got it.
Yeah.
Basically a year old. Between the two, fixed and driving, we will have less in them than what one of them is new.
Wow, that's great. That says a lot about doing your own work and having the skill to do it and the advantage of doing that. That's awesome.
Well, you know, it's not necessarily the most rewarding trade, but at the same time, it's kind of nice that every once in a while you can get a little bit of a reward out of it.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I like fixing cars, so you know, I do it more or less as a hobby now. You know, I've been a ICAR, ASC, you know, Ford trained technician for 30 some years. And, it's gotten harder and harder to make a living dealing with insurance companies.
Yeah.
You know, they just they chisel and chisel. You know, neither one of these Broncos should have totaled. You know, and there's a lot to it, but when it actually comes to a total, a total is dollars and cents. Is it worth it? They usually most companies will use a 60% threshold.
Right.
So just for numbers' sake, say you've got a $10,000 vehicle. It's got $6,000 worth of damage. They're going to be totaling.
Yeah.
This thing, I'm going to have probably, when it's all said and done, $7,000 or $8,000 in parts. Which, don't get me wrong, that's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
But when you look at these things are bringing $70,000 on the lots right now.
Yep.
You know, I'm not including my labor, obviously, but usually parts to labor is almost a 1-to-1 ratio on average. So say it was a $15,000 wreck. That's still a long ways from that 60% threshold.
Absolutely.
I think because of COVID and the pandemic and now supply chain issues, I think there's a lot of vehicles totaling basically.
Wow.
You got the horse there. Got a cool little mountain scene over here. We've already put 4,000 miles on it.
Wow.
The goat modes here.
Does it just basically like lowering your gearing for?
It changes your shift points.
Oh.
So, like right now, it should be in normal. Yep. It tells you here on the main instrument panel.
Wow.
So normal. There's an eco, sport, slippery. And what it has going back the other way. Sand, rock crawl.
Man.
Sand, mud ruts. Which that's automatically locked into four-wheel drive. Of course, it changes the background of the screen. But sport's the fun one.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
It's actually almost a second quicker 0 to 60 than what the full-size Bronco is.
I wasn't ready for a little Bronco to run like that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is. I know I wasn't. That's actually what gave me hope on it.
Wow. And what size engine?
It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder EcoBoost.
Wow. That's great.
And it's got heated steering wheel and heated seats. They'll roast you out. It's got all the garage door stuff.
Man.
It's got some really cool features to it.
Wow.
Obviously, when you're buying at auction, you never know how they're equipped. I mean, usually if you can find the VIN number,
Yeah.
you know, you can get a breakdown off the net or from a dealer. But I didn't know that it actually had all the high-lux stuff. It's got the 360, so it's got a front camera. Obviously backup camera, all that, all the parking stuff, cross traffic, whatever, blind spot. It's got adaptive cruise. That adaptive cruise, that was kind of a trip first time messing with it. It will actually drive itself down this road, following the curves and all.
Really?
I don't recommend that.
Yeah,
obviously.
I was gonna say it's interesting and all, but I would never trust it.
Yeah. But it was more or less just to test its capabilities. You know, you get into traffic, it slows down automatically, speeds up automatically on that cruise control. In your rock crawl modes, it actually has like a cruise control that you can set from 1 mile per hour to 35 miles an hour for driving trails. I haven't got to really test that one out, but we've had it out on the little Sahara sand dunes at Winoka, Oklahoma. It was a sand-eating beast. It did way better than my first gen on the sand. It actually drew a crowd. Everybody come over wanting to know, what is that thing? Because it did so well.
Man, it's stock configuration, straight.
Stock configuration. I didn't air down the tires or anything. I stuck, it still had the bent quarter panel on it. I attached, because you have to have a flag to go out there. I attached a flag to that quarter panel because I knew I was going to be changing it. And yeah, we went out. We had a ball. I think I actually posted some video of that. I don't know if you happen to see it. But
that's good. Yeah, I think I did.
It's a lot of fun.
I noticed that, like, little things, like the vent here, your AC vent, is basically the same design and shape as your taillight.
It's a beat from Bronco.
Really?
That is one of their so-called Easter eggs.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah, it's got some neat stuff. This and the full-size Bronco, the parking brake is operated electrically. They no longer use a cable, you know, for a pull handle or push pedal, whatever. Yeah. It's all electric. It's got a brake hold, so if you pull up to a stoplight, if you engage that, you can let off the brake pedal, and it won't move again until you push the gas pedal.
Wow.
It's got some really neat features. I have to say, Ford really did an outstanding job with the capability of it all. You know, she's got seat covers on it. She wants to keep them looking nice, but the seats, I think the coloring, they call it ebony roast. They're a really pretty leather seat.
Wow.
It's basically the color of this trim on the door with a darker surround. Anyway, it's got a pocket down there. You can put your cell phone in, and it charges it wirelessly.
The dual AC and heat.
Yep. You know, both styles of USB plugs. It's got 210 plugs. We haven't messed with them. I don't know their capability.
Yeah.
Probably not much more than charging a laptop if I was to guess, but.
So you've taken it on the road up to Oklahoma?
Yeah, we've driven it to Oklahoma a couple of times. It's been to Houston and around Hill Country, dragging our little teardrop. We went down in it when we went for her follow-up at MD Anderson.
Yeah.
And like I say, the little part just works.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
It rides as smooth as my Explorer, that's for sure. I can tell. The seats are real comfortable.
Yeah, the seats are really amazing. Yeah. And they're all powered. My full size isn't even power seats.
Wow.
Here it's the high-end Wild Track. It's laid out really well. We just don't really have any complaints with it.
And you've got a start button.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does have remote start and all that, and you can roll the windows up and down with the remote. It's got the Bang & Olufsen stereo system.
I would have you crank it up, but if we do that, YouTube will put a strike on the audio. And,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's got to get paid.
When we got it, all the interior trim was taken out of it in that right rear corner. So she's been driving it without that quarter trim panel.
Oh, yeah.
In it. And, some of the sound deadener pad and all that. So it was somewhat noisy, you know, just road noise you could hear back in that corner.
Right. And
since I got all that back in, I mean, it's quiet.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I could do a road trip in this, no doubt. Or an off-road trip.
Yeah. Well, we plan on wheeling it.
Yeah.
Both of these, by the VIN number, have not been used for the Bronco off-rodeo. They've got one at Moab. They've got one down by Marble Falls. The one for Texas. So I think when I get mine done, we're going to register both of them, and she can drive hers in it, and I'll drive mine in it.
Oh, that'd be great.
My friend Jared's got one. I think we're going to try to coordinate and do them all together.
Man, you know, I know you're connected with some of these Bronco clubs and organizations. Bronco, it really creates a real tight group of enthusiasts. People
absolutely.
who are into Broncos.
Especially the first gen.
Yeah.
Your first gen guys, man, the majority of them, they've been in Broncos for years. They're diehards. I know on one of our Houston runs for a cancer follow-up, we had gone down in my first gen, Bucky, and we had an axle bearing go out. And had a Bronco brother that had reached out to me. He says, hey, when you guys get to town, holler at me. He says, we'll go sit down and visit. I'd love to meet you. Okay, so we met up with him, and I told him, I said, hey, I've got a noise going on. I haven't isolated yet. And he's like, do you have any trouble? Here's my number. He says, I'll come get you. And we literally left there, and we were about halfway back to our RV park, and all of a sudden, I mean, it sounded like something was coming apart in a bad way. We were on the 610 freeway, raining, everybody running 70, and I'm doing like 25.
Wow.
I take an exit, sure enough, I can smell rear end grease. Like, we lost a wheel bearing. And I called Bill and I said, hey, I need to lean on you, brother. And he says, I've got a press in my garage. He says, I'll come get you in the morning. We got Lynn and Uber to go to MD Anderson. So Bill showed up at the RV park. I drove it on the trailer. We ran down to Pearland and backed it in his garage. It was like 25 degrees. It was when that Snowmageddon hit, where everybody went without electricity.
Yeah, the worst case scenario all the way around.
So we backed it in there, went and picked up an axle bearing seal and put it back together, and headed back out, drove home.
Well, when we were on the Route 66 trip, I think you were looking for a starter, and one of your Bronco buddies in Amarillo had a starter.
Yep, John.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that we travel so much in ours, there's probably 4 or 5 guys that run all over in their first gens. And Jay, I think he's back in the Carolinas. I think he's had his in almost all 48 lower 48 states.
Man.
We're at 17. We've put a pretty good dent in them.
Yeah.
But that's one of the nice things about those forums is you make those connections. You know, you get Facebook friends, or you know, whatever you want to call them, and you know, you can post on there, hey, I'm at so and so, I got a problem, and you know, within a few minutes you'll have somebody pop up and say, hey, I'm here, what do we need?
Wow. Cool.
I think it's a tighter knit community than most. I'd say the Jeep community is very tight like that. They really look out for each other.
Yeah, good Jeep guys too. I got a friend of mine who's really into the Jeeps, and they're pretty adamant too. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Jeeps. I mean, if I didn't have my Broncos, I'd probably have one. But you've known me a long time, and you know that I kind of bleed blue.
Yeah, I've had my times with Jeeps. I've driven Jeeps in the past. I don't have a problem with Jeep. Somebody's got a good-looking Mercury over here.
Yeah, that is a good-looking Mercury.
And Juice, let me guess, where'd that name come from?
Well, it might be partly because it's orange juice orange, and then it might be the whole O.J. Simpson connection.
A little bit of both.
I guess it fits for both. I think I'm gonna spell it Joose, just to change it up just a little bit. But
oh man, that's great.
We'll take you for a ride in it.
Cool. We'll ride with the top on. Man, that is simple. It's a lot easier than the old T-top days.
Now, Ford actually, there's a set on Marketplace. I haven't reached out to the guy yet, but he's down at Glenrose.
Yeah.
He bought the optional tubular doors because these doors come off really easy. So you can run around with two doors.
Wow.
And it's a pretty pricey option. And I guess he's decided he's not ever going to take them off, so I think I might see if I can.
All right.
Pay no attention to the parts in the seat or in the floor. You've got the badge here, but also the start button has the same design as the headlight. Now this, because it hadn't had anything cleared out of it, it has a kind of error codes in the...
Yeah, this one does feel like a... It even appears, I mean, it looks different on the interior.
This is a whole different vehicle.
Yeah.
The other is built on a escape platform.
Right.
This is built on a Ford Ranger platform.
Wow.
So these, you can get a... What am I dragging
I
there?
don't know.
Must be a stick.
Hopefully. Whatever it is gone now.
Get out and look just to be sure.
Okay. Airbag's been pulled.
Yeah, just that stick.
Yeah.
So this is built on a Ranger platform. The other one is a unibody. This one is a body over full frame.
Right.
The base engine is a 2.3 EcoBoost 4-cylinder, and then this one has the 2.7 EcoBoost twin turbo.
Wow.
Now, because I've got so many error codes, it won't let me change the mode, so I haven't got to experience what the sport mode is yet.
Dang.
It does all right, but it still doesn't accelerate as fast as that other one.
No. You threw all your parts to the back. That's how much it accelerates.
Yeah. All my loose stuff.
Wow. Yeah, this has got, it's got more of a
pickup feel.
Yeah, it's got the old Bronco attitude, you know.
Yeah. And you can hear it's got more wind noise. There are some people that they just can't get over that wind noise. It's like, what do you expect? It's a removable roof.
Right. It's not, I mean, it's got it's got less wind noise than my 57 Ranchero, put it that way.
It's less wind noise than my first gen.
Yeah. Wow.
Of course, it's got the heated steering wheel and heated seats. One of the gripes is the heated seats are too hot.
Wow.
You can put it down on the lowest level and it'll still roast you. The driver's side airbag, I think it's supposed to be here sometime this week. The curtain airbag that goes up here.
Yeah.
The seat cover, they told me it may take a couple of weeks before it shows up. For the seat airbag deployed.
Right.
I'm not going to make the loop.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Because I've only got one headlight in it. Now this has the true 360. Now the grill's not in it, so it doesn't have the front camera. But you can actually see all the way around the vehicle.
That is nuts.
And it's pretty amazing the way that they blend the camera angles.
That looked just like the ground you were on just now. I mean, it was like...
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that was actually 3 cameras, one in each mirror, and then the one on the back.
Yeah.
And the way it blends the corners, it's kind of crazy because you don't really.
Yeah. All right.
You would almost think you have something above you taking a picture.
Yeah. I know. That's what it looked like. Okay. What's this right here?
That is a camera that works with the crash avoidance. The lane departure.
Wow.
Which, you know, I don't even have the seat belt on this side over here right now because it was locked down from the airbag deployment.
Little dinger keeps telling us.
Yeah, that's why it keeps dinging. Buckle me.
Well, your dash seems to be more business, you know, than the sport.
The higher trim packages, the Badlands and the Wild Track and the Raptor all have a lot larger touch screen. That's a big deal to a lot of people. It's not a huge deal to me, but this was actually optioned out a little higher level than what I had ordered with Ford.
Well, I noticed it's got like handles.
The O handle. Yeah.
And is this what this is too?
Yep. It's got one over here. There's some aftermarket companies that are making the paracord handles that go up here. But you know, this comes from the factory with the Sasquatch package. Comes with factory 35-inch tires. Man. That's kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
And apparently it doesn't take much to get 37s on them.
Really?
I know there's a couple of guys that even have, I think, 40s.
Wow.
I've seen on the forums. But I'm looking forward to it. Like I say, it's got a lot of gizmos. I don't really think it has as many creature features as the Sport.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still. This has the optional noise deadening headliner.
Wow.
I don't think the Badlands come with it.
Huh. Well, I like it. I think he made a good deal. Well, here we go. Got video going to Bucky. So how many, you said you've been to a bunch of states. How many states in this thing?
I believe we're at 17 and counting.
Wow. Man, how many miles on this Bronco?
I really don't know how many miles I had when we got it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been rolled over. But I know we put right at 100,000 miles on it in 10 years.
Wow.
We've had years that we've put 20,000 miles on it. We've had years that we only put 5,000 miles on it. But
I always love this exposed wiper mechanism.
it actually originally had from Ford. It would have had a cover on it.
Really?
But for the soft top, for the riser, to clear the wiper motor, you have to run a drop bracket, and to do so, you can't run the cover on it. So yeah, when the wipers are on, you don't stick your fingers up there. It'll trim your nails.
So what do you got here? 302 and a C, what, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, original 302. I do have the Molly Sniper fuel injection on it, which I wouldn't do it again. It really, I didn't gain anything by it.
Really?
It has the original Ford Duraspark ignition.
Wow.
Nothing fancy there. C4 automatic, Dana 20. They call it a J shift. It's a shift on the fly. Obviously, it doesn't have all the frills. The modern day ones.
Right. Well, they were kind of designed that way.
Back then, actually, that we call them a PowerPoint now, but the cigarette lighter was actually an option in these.
Really?
This is a Ranger package, so it was loaded out, with everything that they had. It had dual tanks.
Yeah.
This is a 77. It's the only year that used fuel doors over the gas caps. It was mandated by federal government. You could no longer have exposed gas caps.
Oh dang, that's weird.
For being a utility type vehicle, though, really it rides good.
Oh yeah.
It runs good. I mean, it's the original engine. Yeah, it uses a little oil. It doesn't leak. I've put a main gasket in it and a fan gasket, so I don't really have any drifts, but it does use some oil. I had touched in that other video regarding the new Bronco, people talking about wind noise.
Yeah.
You get an idea of the difference.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean,
no,
I've heard worse, a lot worse.
You can absolutely talk over it. This is the soft top.
Yeah.
The hard top is, which I've got a thick headliner that I made up for it. So it's actually pretty quiet. The bikini top, you can't really hear much. You have You have to yell, especially with the roadster inserts, half doors.
That sounds great. Small block Ford. Love it.
Yeah, shorty headers. It had long tube headers on when we got it. The passenger side header, the way they ran it so close to the floor, it would get so hot it would melt Lynn's shoes occasionally. So that year that we had gone to Memphis and it was like 107, no air conditioning, we just had the vent windows open. It melted a couple pairs of our shoes, so we ended up going to some shorty headers.
Yeah.
And
that's helped.
Yeah, and we went with a completely different exhaust system.
Right.
It's a 2-into-1 system. 3-inch tailpipe. Has a good sound to it.
Yeah.
It's not obnoxious. We don't get tired of it.
Yeah. But it's enough to let it breathe good, and you know it's there.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned the Holly system. You got it right up here.
Yeah.
I remember when you were putting this on, it was quite a booger to get straightened out. And you mentioned earlier you might not have gone that route. You still feel that way?
Yeah. I mean, I've had to spend as much on the sensors and components and regulator issues and fuel pumps. I've spent as much on parts to keep it running as what I gave for the original unit.
Man.
I think the only thing that hasn't been changed in it is the injectors in the ECU.
Yeah.
But it had a faulty regulator in it. It killed 2 or 3 fuel pumps before I figured out that the regulator was bad. And I went to Summit Racing in Arlington to see if they had a different replacement regulator for it, and they said no, nobody stocks anything. And I was talking to the guy there. He says, I've got a buddy that did away with that regulator and the return system.
Yeah.
He said, what you want is I actually have a Corvette component on here. Don't hold me too bad. I think it's like a 2005 Corvette LS. The fuel filter also is the fuel regulator.
I'll be there.
So it keeps it at 58.5, I believe it is. I run just a short return hose, and I just run the one hose up there, and it hasn't killed any fuel pumps since. On the Holly message boards, the Holly experts, the actual Holly technicians told me it was a horrible idea and it wasn't going to work. And within 2 months, Holly was selling them like that as an option.
Well, this doesn't even have it's got a good ride. You wouldn't expect it to ride this well.
Yeah, the Jeeps in this vintage, they were leaf spring front and rear.
Yeah.
Man, they beat you to death.
Yeah.
The first gen Broncos, it's still a solid axle, but it's a coil spring, and it's definitely a lot better ride.
Yeah.
It handles well. Get back over here on this other road, and I'll show you, man. You can let go of the wheel, and it just runs straight as can be.
And you've got the all-terrain BFGs, right? Tires.
No, these are actually, and I'm normally not a Goodyear tire fan.
Oh, really?
Based on tire expenses, but these are Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax.
Really?
And they're quiet. It doesn't have that horrible four-wheel drive noise. It's a good all-terrain tire. I don't have any complaints on it. They've got a thick sidewall. They held up well for us. Like right there, that's 70 miles an hour, and you can let go of the steering wheel.
It rides great. For a short wheelbase,
Yeah.
with off-road tires, hell, it's a Bronco. It rides like a car.
You know, you put the teardrop on the back of it, it smooths up a little more, obviously.
Yeah.
A previous owner had done a rear disc brake swap. I'm not a real big fan of it.
Yeah.
They use like an 84 Cadillac Seville caliper. And the calipers, to stay adjusted, you constantly have to cycle the emergency brake. It's got a ratchet inside the caliper piston.
Huh.
And if you don't stay up with it, you'll get where the back brake is pretty spongy.
Weird.
Not a big deal. It's more of just a petty nuisance, I guess.
Well, this is very streetable. I can see why you guys take it on the highway and on the road a lot.
Oh yeah, you know, it's got a few little squeaks, a few little rattles, but you know, it's
Everything old does, I do.
45 years old, 46
Yeah.
years old. It's really been a low cost. You know, it doesn't get the greatest fuel mileage. I get about 13 running empty. With the trailer on the back, we get 11 to 12. I mean, you're not going to set any records with fuel mileage, but you know, I've got friends that have, you know, new cheap Rubicons that are only getting 8 to 10 miles per gallon. So
Yeah.
it's not that bad.
Now, what color was this ride when you first picked it up?
It's actually done in the orange and white are the original colors.
Really?
It was originally all orange. They called it Vista Orange. And then the Rangers all had that lower white trim stripe.
Yeah.
And that was done in Wimbledon white.